In December 2019, there was a cluster of pneumonia cases in the city of Wuhan in China. Some of the early cases had reported visiting or working in a seafood and live animal market in Wuhan. Investigations found that the disease was caused by a newly discovered coronavirus. The disease was subsequently named COVID-19. COVID-19 spread within China and to the rest of the world. On 30 January 2020, the World Health Organization declared the outbreak a public health emergency of international concern. In this video, we'll take a quick look at what is currently known about COVID-19. Keep in mind that this is a new disease, and what's known is rapidly evolving and might change in the future. So what is a coronavirus? Coronaviruses are a large group of viruses. They consist of a core of genetic material surrounded by a lipid envelope with protein spikes. This gives it the appearance of a crown. Crown in Latin is called corona, and that's how these viruses get their name. There are different types of coronaviruses that cause illness in animals and humans. In humans, coronaviruses can cause respiratory infections ranging from the common cold to more severe diseases. These include the severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus, first identified in China in 2003, the Middle East respiratory syndrome coronavirus that was first identified in Saudi Arabia in 2012, and SARS-CoV-2, the name of the virus that causes COVID-19 that was first reported in December 2019. So, where did this new virus come from? It's known that coronaviruses circulate in a range of animals. Sometimes these viruses can make the jump from animals to humans. This is called a spillover and could be due to a range of factors, such as mutations in the virus or increased contact between humans and animals. For example, MERS-CoV is known to be transmitted from camels, and SARS-CoV from civet cats. The animal reservoir of the new coronavirus is not known yet. How does the disease spread? The disease can spread from person to person through droplets, when an infected person releases those droplets through coughing, talking, or sneezing, for example, when close to another person. It can also spread when infected droplets land on objects, and when another person touches them and then touches their eyes, nose, or mouth. What are the symptoms? The incubation period, which is the time taken from exposure to the virus and development of symptoms, is on average 5 to 6 days, but can range from 1 to 14 days. There can be a range of symptoms, from very mild to severe. Some people may not develop symptoms. Common symptoms include fever, fatigue, and respiratory symptoms such as cough, sore throat, and shortness of breath. Some people reported loss of their sense of taste or smell, and some may develop a skin rash. In more severe cases, there could be pneumonia, organ failure, and sometimes death. About 80% of cases recover from the disease without needing special treatment. But there are some people who are at risk of serious illness. They include older people or people with underlying medical problems, such as chronic respiratory disease, obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, or cancer. How can we tell whether someone is infected? The infection is commonly diagnosed by a test called reverse transcriptase polymerase chain reaction, generally known as PCR. This test identifies the virus based on its genetic fingerprint. There's also a blood test that can check for antibodies against the virus, which may show that someone was infected in the past. How is it treated? The treatment for COVID-19 is mainly supportive care. Medicines against the virus are currently under investigation. How do we prevent transmission of the virus? There are a number of effective ways to prevent the spread of the disease. These include covering your mouth and nose when coughing or sneezing with a flexed elbow or tissue, and throwing the tissue in a closed bin immediately after use. Wash hands regularly with soap and water or an alcohol-based hand rub, maintaining at least 1 meter distance from people, and the appropriate use of masks and personal protective equipment, especially in health settings. It's important to stay home if you're feeling unwell and to call a hotline or your medical professional. But if you have a fever, cough, or difficulty breathing, seek medical care early and share your travel history or contact with someone unwell with your healthcare provider. In some areas, governments have implemented specific physical and social distancing measures to prevent the spread of the outbreak. It's important to follow their advice. Vaccines to prevent COVID-19 are currently under development, and scientists around the world are working hard to make this happen. That's a quick look at this emerging infectious disease. We're still learning about this virus every day, and what's known may change. So please, check the website below for the most up-to-date information.
Your dignity is tied to every other human being on Earth. When millions of us struggle to survive, human energy is diminished. When so many of us are still hungry, human potential is suffocated. Poverty has many forms, but no borders. To become fully human, we must free ourselves from the tyranny of poverty and from the grip of hunger everywhere. As we end poverty, true prosperity begins. As we end hunger, we all start to flourish. We have the ability, means, and capacity to create a world where all humans have dignity and our potential is fully realized. This is the story you are shaping.
Ever wondered what exactly waste means? In biology, we describe it as any unwanted or undesired material left over after completing a particular process. Waste can be categorized into different types. There's solid waste. This includes vegetable peelings, bread wrappers, plastic bags, and other solid things. Then we get sludge waste, which is somewhere between solid waste and liquid waste. This would include human feces or chemicals that have been used in a hospital or factory. Then we have liquid waste. This would be things like urine, used bathwater, or any liquid you pour down the drain. Finally, we have gaseous waste. This includes chlorine gas or fumes from a car or factory. So, how do we dispose of all this waste? One of the ways is to burn waste. Waste can also be buried. Organic waste, like vegetable peelings, can be fed to animals. Waste can also be recycled. They usually split into paper, glass, plastic, and tin. Finally, there is garbage collection through local authorities or municipalities from dustbins in public places or our homes. But if waste is not disposed of correctly, it can have negative effects on the environment. When sludge or liquid waste is dumped in a body of water, it can cause an epidemic of diseases like typhoid or cholera. If sewage systems are not looked after, they can leak into rivers or oceans and kill off aquatic life. Burning of garbage, like plastic, can cause air pollution, which can be harmful to people's health. Organic waste, left in the open, can attract insects and cause horrible odors. And releasing gases into the air can contribute to global warming because of the greenhouse effect. So how can we prevent these negative effects? Firstly, we can recycle. We can reuse things. We can bury organic waste or make compost out of it. We can feed vegetable peelings to animals. Now you know that waste can be categorized into solid, sludge, liquid, and gaseous waste. We also know that incorrect disposal can have negative effects, like disease, killing wildlife, air pollution, water pollution, and can even contribute to global warming. That's why it's important to reuse and recycle. So the next time you're getting rid of waste, think about the effect it could have on the environment. Maybe there's a better way to dispose of it.
Hi, I'm Ron. Did you know that plastic pollution is caused by an accumulation of plastic waste in the environment?
Bottles, food wrappers, grocery bags, straws were the common contributors for plastic waste, and this is always present in our homes. A whopping 8 million tons of plastic winds up in the ocean each year, endangering wildlife and polluting ecosystems. This number is expected to grow to 90 million tons of plastic without improvements to waste by the year 2030. This can have harmful effects on the environment, animals, and on humans.
How to solve plastic pollution? Reduce, reuse, and recycle.
Reduce. Avoid the usage of plastic products and switch to the alternative ones. Reuse. Many plastic items can be reused or used for different purposes. Let's consider how they can be reused. Recycle. Plastic recycling consists of collecting plastic waste and processing it into new products.
And lastly, educate. Let's share this advocacy, and together we can reduce plastic pollution.